Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. You join me today for a little bit of journaling. I want to have a go at my year in review for 2020. So I'm starting with a selfie, not out of vanity. I think when you're a single mom, especially a single mom with special needs in the house, you often feel so insular. From one month to the next, you cannot talk to another adult, and I think selfies kind of are a way for carers and people like me to kind of remind ourselves that we still exist in our own right. I'm just checking there to see whether this thick felt tip pen is showing through, and it does a bit, but I'm okay with that. So this is just really simple printouts and really simple pens. You can see I've just used a thicker normal felt tip pen, and I'm using a normal ballpoint pen there. I quite like the difference in the thickness of lines. I do have some Indian ink in front of me. I was going to use a dip pen to try and slow down my handwriting a little bit, because sometimes I write so quickly that it's illegible afterwards, and I thought a dip pen might slow me down, but for the life of me I couldn't find my dip pens anywhere. And if you see my hands, I'm already covered in ink just holding the pot, so it's probably a good thing that I couldn't find them. At the top here I'm just writing 2020, a year in review, and I thought today it just might be nice for me just to share the process as I'm doing it with a voiceover, just to take you through some of the questions that I'm asking myself to review my year before I start thinking about the year to come. So this is what I'm doing here. I'm just adding 2020, a year in review at the top, just to let me know what the page is all about. And now I'm just sat trying to think where to start this review, and I decided to try and sum up the year with a word, and it turned into a few words actually, and they were quite telling. I think they're words that a lot of us might use for 2020. Lonely, exhausting, solitude, I wrote, solitary, shocking, stuck, addictive, because I've been spending a lot and eating a lot, a precipice, because I feel like I'm on the precipice of a change in these behaviours. And then I took those single words and I tried to sum it up in a sentence, my thoughts and emotions, my immediate thoughts and emotions about the year. And I wrote that the scariest thing is it didn't change anything. It made me realise I have to step into the future now. I think when a worldwide pandemic and worldwide lockdown happens and your life doesn't change, then that's the precipice that I'm on. I need to start changing something. I've been very locked in post-traumatic stress disorder and trying to protect myself. So yeah, those first two questions, you know, recording the year in words and then a sentence, really opened my eyes to the need for change. And after I'd done this, I referred back to my journal that I started at the beginning of 2020 to remind myself of long forgotten goals, because it was one of those years where everything got abandoned with homeschooling and just 2020. So I reminded myself of some goals, and I wanted to record things that I was proud of, things that I'd achieved in the year, but also some goals that I hadn't achieved. And I started with the things that I had achieved. So I started to draw hearts around, and I put things like learning tarot. I taught myself to read tarot this year, keeping the kids content. And content's an important word there, because there was happy and safe and their mental health still together. Content was a big word and a big ask this year. I built my garden, so I wrote garden building as well. My YouTube channel, I started my YouTube channel. I'm really proud of that. And I shared my poetry publicly as well, which I was really proud of doing that, because I was quite scared sharing my art, but particularly the poetry. And it had such a good reception. I taught myself watercolour painting, not as much as I wanted to. And I did a live. I was really scared. That was something I did in the year that I was scared about. Now, coming up this side of the page, I wanted to do things I hadn't achieved, and I decided to write those in hearts too, because I need to hold myself in self-love whether I achieved or I didn't. And the first three hearts were written really quickly. My weight, I didn't lose any weight. In fact, I gained weight. I didn't improve my fitness. And my eating, it's still emotional eating, it's still disordered eating. I didn't get that in control at all. I didn't connect like I'd wanted to, although 2020 wasn't really the year for that. And I was sad a lot of the time. I felt really sad and lonely this year. Oh, and then I remembered one that I was proud of, my reading. I've done lots of reading. Then my sketchbook practice. I didn't do a lot of sketchbook work. Consistency in all things was just not there, and I didn't start an Etsy shop again. So then I decided to put dots at the top of the hearts for the hearts that were things that I had achieved, and then dots at the bottom of the hearts if it was something that I'd set as a goal and didn't do. So it was just a record really of 2020, but I think with the keep the kids content heart in play, I'm happy with that. And then the next question I'm trying to answer is the biggest challenges that I faced in 2020. And I'm writing keeping 3 children safe and happy during a pandemic when it's just me. And Tilly was on the shielding list as well, so I couldn't go out, I couldn't leave her, I couldn't take her out with me, so it was challenging at times. Homeschooling. Goodness me, I found homeschooling hard. My hat goes off to all of you homeschooling mums and dads out there. So homeschooling was a challenge, and my emotional eating and my weight gain keep going up. I'm really struggling with that, guys. And I had a problem with my feet as well, not helped by the weight gain either. I'd pulled tendons in the centre of my feet at the start of the year, and I was actually living in pain. It's the first time really that I've had an ongoing pain. Some days I could hardly walk, which again didn't help with the exercise and the fitness goals either, because some days it was all I could do to slide down the stairs on my bum and hobble around the house. Okay, the next question to consider was, what would you have done differently? Well, the word consistency keeps coming into my mind as I'm writing this. So I wrote consistency, keeping to a diet. I could have felt so different now at the end of the year. Consistently with more structured time in the art studio, better sleep. I spent so much of the year exhausted. More connection via Zoom. I think I've forgotten how to be human with my post-traumatic stress disorder I put at the bottom, because you really do forget how to connect and communicate and to stay in touch with people when you have gone through a long healing process like I have. I was really ready to start trying to connect again, and then the pandemic hit. But there were ways I could have stayed in touch more, but I didn't. So that's something, looking back, I could have done all of those things differently. So these are just really useful questions to ask yourself at the end of the year. I like this next one. This next one is, are there any aha moments? Well, my aha moments was the public poetry. When I shared the ink drawing and the poetry, I was so scared about doing that, and I thought everybody would leave my channel because I thought nobody would be interested, and everybody was super interested. And it made me think, well, perhaps being myself and being really authentic is the way to go. Of course it is, but you know, sometimes we need reminding, because that was the best response I had all year. It was my nicest compliment as well. And also I had a tarot reading off the lovely Hen, and that tarot reading kind of opened my eyes to reframing healing. This idea that I haven't got to keep fighting to be healed. I can be broken, but in a better way. And it just really reframed things for me that I think had been keeping me stuck. Down this side of the page, I left space for life lessons learned. So I sat for a while and I had to think about this. The first one, it says sleep is important. I've really messed up my sleeping, and I spent so much of the year tired. So I really want to try and sort out my sleeping. Then I wrote about goals. Goals can be achieved as long as you don't stop. It's that idea of consistency kept coming back to me over and over again. I'm very much all or nothing, and I want everything done in an instant by the end of the month. And I get overwhelmed. If I'd have just plodded along all year, I would have been in such a better place. Just a little bit of consistency. So underneath I put baby steps forward add up. You're still going forward. It doesn't have to be running all the time. It can be baby steps. Then I put a year passes anyway. It doesn't matter if progress is slow. The time's going to be going anyway. So you may as well throw some baby steps in. And then I wrote, if a worldwide pandemic and lockdown doesn't change your life at all, then you have become too isolated to not make changes. I think that was the biggie for me. I suddenly realised nothing had changed in my world. How can that be? How could I have let myself get into that position? And I think that realisation is why I felt sad and lonely throughout the year. So I wrote then, admitting you are lonely is hard. That's a really hard thing to do because you start to open gateways to pain then. And then I wrote, demanding healing can hold you back. Accepting brokenness and being broken in a more badass way may be the way forward for now. I'm so keen to feel healed and completely okay with things that happened in my past, and for it not to matter. And it just dawned on me, the tarot really, Hen's reading and my own personal readings this year, the tarot has taught me that sometimes we don't get to healing, and that's fine. We can carry our brokenness in a really powerful, impacting way for others. And for me, I just thought that's the way I need to go from now on. And then I printed out one of my ink drawings from the year. This is the swan drawing that I called Hope. And I picked this drawing because moving forward into the new year, that's what I want to carry with me. I want to carry some hope. So this is going to be glued on the next page. And because the picture's all about hope, I decided to use that page to record all the things that I'm grateful for, that I was grateful for in 2020. So I drew a spiral going around. I love taking my pen, almost that idea of walking a labyrinth, that spiral dance path, and to write in circles. I love doing that. Even though I did get a bit confused with the direction that I was writing in. But you can see me drawing the path here for the words. And I wrote that I am grateful we are still alive, is what I started this with. And that wasn't flippant. That is the type of year we've had. To write, I am grateful we are all still alive, and mean it. It just goes to show what 2020 has been like. Then I put my kids went back to school okay. They, their mental health, they were okay. They were okay, and I was grateful for that. I'm grateful we didn't run out of money, because so many people have. It's just been such a year. I'm grateful for the woods on my doorstep to walk the dogs, for my studio and tarot space, and the garden. Of all the years to be grateful for a garden, 2020 was really the year. For all the upcycled materials I'd collected the year before. My front driveway was full of pallets and old bricks and wood, all things that I'd collected through the year, all free, with the intention of at some point building a garden. And of course 2020, that's all I did. I built things, but I had all the stuff there ready to go. So I was really grateful for that. Then I put, I'm grateful for my phone to allow me to video, because that allowed me to do my YouTube channel. And my new friends on there, and you guys, you know who you are. for the hot tub. So I'd got a hot tub that I'd bought the year before. Instead of giving the kids birthday parties, I spent the money on a hot tub, and I built it and installed it this year. So in that hot summer when we were stuck at home, they had a hot tub to play in. It was just so wonderful. For books and technology, so the kids had things to play on, I had books to read. For a day out at the beach, and Dottie's still waiting. And for those of you who don't know, Dottie is my caravan in Wales, in Aberystwyth, and I didn't get to go to her all year, but I managed one day, just me and the dogs, right at the end of the season, and I spent a morning walking on the beach, and it felt like a 2-week holiday. It was so uplifting. I was just so grateful for that, and to know that she's still there waiting for next year. And then round the corners of the things I'm grateful for, I write the word hope in each corner, because we can't move forward without that. I don't think we're out of this yet, of course, but let's always hold on to hope. And then on the next page, I decided to write my word of the year. Now, this word of the year has kept coming to me over and over again in tarot readings in the last few months. But here I'm pausing, because as I was writing these pages, the word consistency kept coming to me over and over and over again. And I very nearly changed my word at the last minute to consistency. But then I remembered that my year card for 2021 is the Hanged Man. And the Hanged Man is all about looking at things from different perspectives. And I decided to stick with the original word that has kept coming to me every tarot reading I do, which is the word reframe. So I write the word reframe here inside the heart. And around the edge of this heart, I've decided to write some of my goals for the coming year. But last year I wrote things like to lose 3 stone, to do 10 watercolour paintings, to fill up 3 sketchbooks. It was very precise, and to run 4 miles a week. It was really precise goals, and it's just felt a bit disheartening. And with that idea of consistency and little baby steps and the word reframe, I decided to kind of reframe the way I write my goals. So instead of writing to be happy and healed, I wrote to find more badass ways of being broken. And then instead of saying you must lose 5 stone this year, I wrote to love myself through all the shifting sands my body needs. I am a changing landscape. My body has needed this weight to protect itself in some very horrible situations, and it's made me feel safe. It did a job. I think the trick is to love myself anyway, and I liked that idea of viewing myself as shifting sands, the shifting sands that my body needs, and being a changing landscape. So that's what I put instead of losing weight. To choose consistency, I wrote as well. To run an epic marathon adventure in baby steps. That idea of, don't overwhelm yourself. You can go on an epic marathon of transformation. It can be an adventure, but you can do it in baby steps. Again, that's that idea of consistency. To know my contract with the Morrigan and fulfill the deals. Now, I've been really connecting more and more with the Morrigan. She threw potatoes at me this year. That's another story, but she did. And I got chased by crows and they threw potatoes at me. So I knew I'd got to connect again with her. We're still trying to work out a contract, the two of us, and I'd like to really hear her clearly again. I wrote to offer my physical body to my spiritual practice. With trauma, I've been pushed very much into my head. I've kind of forgotten that I've got a body attached. The body attached is just somewhere for me to bury emotions with food. I would like to start putting movement into my spiritual practice and to connect it. And again with my sleep, I put to sleep and dream and use it for magic capturing. I've started trying to capture my dreams, and I think it's all part, it can all be joined, that instead of saying to sleep 8 hours a night, to use it for magic, it's that for me is the way forward. So those normal goals of exercise, weight, sleep, movement more, meditate, I've tried to reframe them and to be more self-loving. So that's it, guys, just a couple of quick double page spreads in the journal for what I did for my 2020 review of the year and goal setting and my word of the year. I'll put some of the questions I used and a few more I found in the description box just in case it helps, and I hope that it may have inspired somebody to review their own year and to get their journal out and have a play. So thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you next time. Bye.